Alright, it's not quite. Okay. So, I'm just waiting. So, stream, can you hear me? So anyone in the stream, can you see if you can hear me? I just want to check. Okay. Mr. Mindblocks, Daylight Twinkle, hello, how are you? Let's see you. Okay. Cranky the Crane Productions, great to see you, buddy. Recently did a 10 cents audition for him. Absolutely killed it, if I do say so myself. Les Photography Productions, my absolute guy. All the way from Australia as well. So, wait, hang on. Les, what time? I have a question for you. What time is it over there? Do you know what time it is? Because it's like 12 hours behind, so it must be like 11 a.m. there. Or something like that. Must be. Oh, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, okay. So 11 hours. But anyway, might as well do an intro. So, if you can't tell from the title alone, this is a Q&A, but it is live. So, let's get ready to answer some questions. That's the cringiest intro I've ever done. Okay, 6 in the evening for Daylight Twinkle. I'm just looking at the chat, but no, as you can probably tell, this is my first time live stream. I'm a little bit nervous, if I'm totally honest. Like, never done something like this before. But first, I might as well re-emphasize. So I'm just gonna go back over the ground. Yeah, God, for someone got the reference. Damn it! It's not original anymore. Everyone's gonna start doing it. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go over the rules. So, nothing too personal. So, no asking for name/location. Like, I draw the line at age. That's where I draw the line. And two, this is while we're waiting for, like, other people to start coming in. You are... Too bad, lol. God's sake, I'm distracted by the chat. I need to stop being distracted by the chat. You are allowed to... Okay, you are also allowed to ask more than one question. However, I must stress, one question at a time. Okay? So, if just kind of do it... What's the word? Alternate kind of question answering. Like, you have a question, someone else answers a question. If you have another question, then it goes back to you again. Just no person asking more than one question at once. So, I will make an exception, but we'll get to that in a bit. They don't have to be Thomas or MLP related, or AKA stuff I do on my channel. They could be totally random. Like they could be would you rathers, what's your favorite, insert here, just kind of, as long as it's nothing too personal, but just completely random. You know, completely random. Number 4, I will try and keep a balance between questions related to certain topics, just to be considerate for my audience. So there is that. And as I said, some people have posted questions in the live on the Q&A announcement video. Stream's buffering slightly. Stream, is the stream buffering? Okay, it's definitely buffering. Must be. Okay, so like I said, okay, not too much. So it's bearable. It's bearable. But okay, some people have posted questions on the Q&A announcement video, which I will get into in just a bit, whilst we kind of wait for like everyone to kind of come in. And then afterwards we'll get to the live chat asking some questions. So, like I said, could be anything you want it to be about, as long as it's nothing too personal. So, right, should we get started? Like, I want chat. Do you reckon I should get started? It's just Mr. Vineblock slash Daylight Twinkle. it's just him spamming in the chat. Right, you know what? I'm gonna start. So, these first four questions are from Stitch Underground, who's been a very loyal follower to the channel, and he asked. His first question is, "What do you think of Thomas and the Magic Railroad?" Spamming? No, I'm not. I just got that. But no, Stitch Underground asks, "What do you think of Thomas and the Magic Railroad?" Honestly, that movie frustrates me. It really, really frustrates me. And because it could be something. I feel like if certain adaptations were made to like the story and the writing and also just the lore of it as well, it's it frustrates me. Like it could be something, you know? Like and instead we just get this terribly written piece with good things about it. Don't get me wrong, there are some really good things. There are some, like, I know obviously maybe I'm being biased since I am a Thomas fan, and obviously being in that kind of medium, I specifically look for things to be positive about in this. But at the same time, I can acknowledge it's a shit film. Sorry for the swearing, but it is a really, really crap film. It, but like, but even if you are an if you're if you're what's the word, a strict, non strict. What the hell? Words English, please. Um, but honestly, if you're a casual observer, you might find things to enjoy it. Like a lot of people, you think about the cultural impact. Like I'm talking cultural impact Diesel 10 has had, not just on the fandom, but it's one of those things about Thomas that if you don't know, even if you're not an avid follower of the show, it's one of the things you mainly know about. He's a mainstay on the series. It's a shame his character's been neutered and he hasn't been seen since effectively 2013. That's nearly 10 years. Um, okay. 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 Daylight Twinkle just asked, "What about the director's cut on full view on the director's cut?" Honestly, I don't think it makes it any better. I think the main problems me and other people have with that with that movie still remain. Yeah, obviously it makes things make a bit more sense, but at the same time, what's the big? It doesn't really make much difference. Like the biggest difference really is PT Boomers in it. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I find the reason that PT Boomer was cut from the movie really, really stupid, man. It's too scary. Come on. Okay, so the Wheelers from Return to Oz, or anything else, like any kind of creepy villain from like a children's show. You think PT Boomer's too scary? Granted, he effectively makes death threats, but when I watched him, he honestly wasn't scared. He didn't scare me at all, and that's not a bad thing. Like he still had a presence to him. But if anything, I'd say I'd say Diesel 10. I like, especially like as a kid, I think if the director's cut was the full version, I think I still would be more scared of Diesel 10 than I would be PT Boomer. Like maybe that's because like I wouldn't necessarily understand the full extent of it, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, like I'm not sure how if the reception would be any different if the full director's cut was the one shown on the big screen. But I think there's a reason that Magic Railroad has had so many adaptations to it. I mean, I don't know. You'd think a diesel with a giant murderous claw on it would be considered non-scary, lol. Um. Ooh. I'm gonna go off topic. I'm gonna go a bit off topic here. Les Photography Productions asks, "Who was your favorite voice for Diesel 10?" There aren't really that many. I'm not gonna lie. Like I guess you could include fan voices, but then we'd be here all day. But it's got to. I'm sorry, it's got to be Neil Crone. I know the one when I'm playing, because I've played Diesel 10 a few times in my I've played Diesel 10 a few times in other people's projects. The one I've oh god, what's his name? The name of the British one that was considered too scary. The one with the British accent. Who was your? But no, going back to before I answer that, let me say Neil Crone, absolutely just freaking hilarious and threatening at the same time. Like, here's the thing: I consider Diesel 10 to be a perfect, like on paper, I consider Diesel 10 to be a perfect kids villain. Like, he's threatening Keith Scott. Okay, that was the voice. Basically, what I was saying is, the one I normally go through because of my normal voice, I normally go for Keith Scott, and so and sometimes I do it kind of out of artistic choice, like Keith Scott. Like you see in like a lot of Disney films, you have that kind of archetypal British mustache twirling villain with the kind of posh British accent, you know, no, ecstatic. Like you're like it's so sly and it's just it's such a useful tool. But at the same time, Neil Crone's, and I think that's what makes Neil Crone so good because it's original. You hear his voice, you know immediately, you can recognize it immediately, especially if you hear it like multiple times. It's just iconic. And also going back to my earlier point, like Diesel 10, I'd say is wait, Keith Scott was Australian. Okay, because I know there was an Australian voice act. There was one that tried an Australian voice. Like, that was in the teaser trailer. Like, he did a kind of Johnny Cuba voice. Oh, things are going to change around here, puffball. Like he did that kind of voice. But Keith Scott was Australian. I actually didn't know that. To be fair, Les would know. But, anyway. I keep getting sidetracked. I need to stop. But, like, Diesel 10, on paper, is the perfect kids villain, like on paper, because he's threatening, but he's also freaking hilarious, and like he has a purpose in the story, and not only that, but he has a presence. Like I said, that comedic slash threatening presence he has is what makes it so good, and what makes Neil Crone's performance so bloody worthwhile. It's just brilliant, and like obviously if I thought about it a bit more I could kind of explain more reasons, and like maybe there's kind of like an analytical video like someone should make out there, but I digress. So yeah, to answer your question, it's Neil Crone. I'm sorry, Keith Scott. I know I pay tribute to you a lot in my performances of the character, but it's Neil Crone, just for what he brings to the character and making him the kind of cult icon in the fandom that he is. I'm sorry, it's got to be Neil Crone. But we're gonna go back to Stitch Underground's previous questions. So, characters came from. No, okay. Actually, there's another question, and I'm guessing not only you got frustrated with the story, but also questioned where the frick the Shining Time Stations came from. I didn't know what Shining Time Station was when I watched it, admittedly, so there was that kind of confusion, but I was one of the few that didn't really question it, I think. I don't know. Like, my main focus was just kind of Thomas, but afterwards, I remember I did some research, like, afterwards. Child standard research, not, like, full-on David Starkey for historical research, but I came across a few episodes of Shining Time Station and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very, very good show, and I think I saw something on like TV.com. It's got like a 9.5 out of 10 rating or something, so it's quite highly regarded. Really, Shining Time Station. So I do enjoy it, but I feel like, yeah, as a British person, there was that there was that confusion, like for British audience, because like we're familiar with the UK dub, and that's just Thomas. But I digress. It didn't really detract too much from the film, like when I first watched it, but then with how it just slowed the story to a crawl, I can understand kind of why the Shining Time Station characters are a bit of an issue. So we're going to move on. Stitch Underground questions. So his second question that he asked is, Who is your favorite pony? So an MLP question this time, and I'm gonna be really boring. Can I please be really I'm gonna be really boring. It's Fluttershy. I'm sorry, but come on. Come on. It's always been Fluttershy for me. And like, cause can I tell you what? Cause I was introduced to MLP, well Gen 4, through the film. And one scene I did, because the thing is, Fluttershy doesn't really appear in that very much. One scene I distinctly remember from that film is a scene near the end, the big climax at the end. So they're the main six are kind of doing their thing, taking out the rest of the guards, and Fluttershy is being cornered by one. is being cornered by one, and she replies, "You seem tense. Do you want to talk about it?" And the guard is like, "Eh?" And so the scene cuts, and literally, so just like a few bit more action. Then it cuts back to Fluttershy and the guard is just in tears. It's so, literally, I was on the floor laughing, and then afterwards it was just like, Fluttershy, and I was like, oh sorry, our time is up, goodbye. And like ever since then, like Fluttershy has always been my favorite character. Just like I don't know, just something about her, man. And also, call me a fucking brony, but she's adorable. Come on, she is really really cute. The thing is though, I'd say pink is my least favorite color. Yeah, granted, but like she has pink in her mane. Like I'm surprised her design like appeals to me as much as it does. But I don't know. I digress. As for others, Twilight has grown on me, I think. Twilight kind of grew. I in the beginning I thought she was kind of annoying, but as I said, she's kind of grown on me. Like her arc from, it kind of reminds me, her arc from not necessarily someone kind of desperate, but her arc really kind of reminds me of mine. Not to say I'm a hardworking bookworm who is destined to become a prince of some land somewhere. But you know, just that kind of idea of that constant idea of growth and having, and also like self-doubt. I feel myself having and I mean a lot of self-doubt. I think I've reflected that on this channel many a time. But bloody hell, like I really do relate to that, you know. Other characters, Discord, of course. Absolute. Because the thing is with Discord, because of how chaotic, no pun into, pardon the pun, because of how chaotic his character is, it leaves for really good creative potential. So, and also John Delancey's voice for him is just so it's so fitting, because it's kind of, it's not quite, it's got that slyness to it, but also got a kind of childish playfulness to it, which I think is so bloody fitting. He's hands down my favorite character to voice. Like if I do if I do like voice acting for someone, like MLP character wise. Okay, speaking of which, did you see the 2017 MLP movie on the big screen on DVD? DVD. I didn't see it on the big screen. People would frown if I told them I was seeing that on the big screen. But no, I did watch it in DVD, and I didn't think it was the best, but I thought it was okay. It's very nice animation, but I'll tell you what, the songs just get under my skin in that. I'm sorry, like Daylight, you're gonna hate me for this, but the songs really get under my skin. I'm sorry. But anyway, we're going to move on. Stitch Underground ask, we're going to move away from MLP just for a moment. What is your favorite video that you've made? See, there's a big difference between videos that I'm proud of and videos that I enjoyed making. In terms of videos that I'm proud of, it's probably got to be, my most viewed video on this channel is lines, but is some I think it was some Diesel 10 lines I did for a Thomas and the Magic Railroad chase redub for Ashton M 1920. That has over 30k views, which is ridiculous for a small channel like me. Like, granted, yeah, the whole algorithm of YouTube, it's basically pot luck. So that one time I managed to strike it lucky, but at the same time, it just playing that character and like hearing it back, it just felt so right. Like just because I added like improv to it, it felt natural. The only thing is, I was still using my phone. I was still using my phone as my mic. If I was using it with my Blue Yeti microphone, which you can see on your screen, it would be perfect. It would be absolutely perfect. So that's like videos I'm proud of. Also, Friendship is Tragic reactions, and I'm proud of that for a different reason, because what that spoke to me is that kind of people what I kind of gathered from this, from like the comments and the premiere I did of the finale, is just these people have worked so hard on this project, and it just made me acknowledge that, these were people seeing someone else appreciate their content, and I just felt like I was doing something nice for all these people. Like, yeah, like I've said in the past, like, reactions aren't the most convincing, like, is that the right word? Is not the most compelling of content, but at the same time, it was like I had a lot of fun doing it, and the rest of the people, like, they were so appreciative towards me. So yeah, that's kind of, those are videos I'm kind of proud of. In terms of favorite videos that I've made, it's got to be my Wolf in Sheep's Clothing cover. Like, I know that came out really crap, but come on, it's Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. That song is such a banger. And like, it felt so good to do. The fact that I found these kind of, the instrumentals I found were just incredible. The actual like custom instrumentals I managed to find and just slot them together to create at least listenable piece of music was just so it was just incredible, man. It was just incredible doing that. Also, another one which hasn't really performed as well as Wolf in Sheep's Clothing, a lot of people less know about it, is so it was I uploaded this I'm trying to remember when because it was like sometime last month. I uploaded a mix of Black Griffin's cover of Beat It I'd figured out that Black Griffin's Beat It, the cover of Beat It, had the same BPM, beats per minute, as the fast verse from Rap God by Eminem. So I was, and like everyone's always saying, like, kind of, if you like, you get viral clips of people doing the fast verse of Rap God. So, and I thought just doing that over that absolutely incredible dance break, I thought it was just a match made in heaven. And I was so proud of myself that I managed to come across that. And also, like, I felt like I was using my creative mind then. Like, I had some, like, again, end product, not brilliant. But again, like, one that I had so much freaking fun with. Honestly. And so yeah, that's hopefully that answers your question. And he has a fourth and final question, which he's asking me. What is the best advice you can give someone who wants to do YouTube? Also, he adds a little extra message at the end. Thanks, man. You're awesome. You're awesome. Keep up the great work. So thank you very much, Stitch Underground. You've been a very loyal supporter of the channel. So thank you so much. Honestly, I can't talk because I'm a very small, considering the rest of the channels that are out there, I'm incredibly small. I'm an incredibly small channel, and like, what is the best advice? I'll tell you what. I only have like 200 subscribers. There are people up there with millions. But in terms of, like, I'll tell you what. Someone commented on my videos once, if you're not having fun with it, then stop doing it, because life is too short for you to not enjoy doing what you're doing. So yeah, and also just a piece of advice, like, coming from me, if you have, like, it's, because you can make a YouTube channel based on anything. Like, anything you're interested, and do not be ashamed of what it is you're interested in. Like, yeah, it's very easy. It's very easy to think about, it's very easy to kind of, like, because it's not something, like, obviously, like, MLP or Thomas, you can't really talk about those things outside of kind of YouTube. You can't really, you can't really talk to anyone about that. They kind of, that, like, you, out of fear of them mocking you. But at the same time, YouTube is an outlet for your creativity. If you love, like, ponies or trains or anything that may not seem like a social norm, anything that seems niche in any sense, freaking do it. Okay? Never be ashamed of what you're interested in. Because that's being ashamed of yourself. No one should ever be ashamed of who they are. Okay? No one should ever, like, feel that they feel that they don't belong. They don't deserve this treasure we call life. Like, if any of you, everyone, like, in the chat, just listen to that and take that with heart. Like, obviously I didn't say it in the most compelling way. I'm not Martin Luther King here, but hopefully I've made a point. But yeah, that's the kind of best advice I give you, Stitch Underground. And once again, man, thank you so much for the support you've shown on the channel. So that was his question. Hunter Soul asks, do you hate the Emoji Movie? I've never seen it. I've never seen the Emoji Movie, and this may sound a bit hypocritical of me, like, there's always, like, how do you know you don't like something unless you try it? Literally everyone that watches it hates it. Like, I can't name a single person who likes the Emoji Movie, and I'm just like, if it's not worth my time, then why the hell should I even watch it? Like, just why? You know, like, granted, like, see for myself, maybe one of these days, but I don't know, I have no interest in watching it at the moment, to be honest. Like, so, I can't really answer that, because, on one hand, I can't really answer that because I haven't seen it, but two, I have no kind of real interest in seeing it, because literally everyone says it's a bad movie. So, yeah, so take that as you will. Next question. Daniel Deviant asks, do you have things you can't handle? Now, this I'm a little bit, seems a bit vague. What I'm assuming this means is that things you can't handle, like things you can't kind of stand, like things that kind of makes your mind break in a way, like not necessarily what gives me a mental breakdown, but things I struggle to handle. And I do have one, which is a little bit personal to me. I have a massive phobia of fire bells. Like, literally, whenever we used to have, like, a fire drill in school, I always had to be, like, one that we knew, obviously, that was happening, I had to be taken out, because, like, I just could not stand the noise and just the kind of shock value of it. I could not stand, like, fire bells. I have a massive, massive phobia of them. Like, on it, and I don't know where that comes from. Like, I just have, like, to be honest, I have a phobia of fire in general, you know. I honestly don't know why. Like, I'm guessing, like, if I was to guess, like, I do have an uncle who died in 9/11, so that kind of gives me a kind of, not necessarily idea, but it gives a possible reason, like, just knowing that someone in my blood has gone through that kind of thing, you know? So that's a possible reason for it, but, like, in terms of things I can't handle, like, the way I'm interpreting that question, I things you got, like, that's kind of something, wait, that, it's fire bells, basically. I can't handle. Shivers. Elias Photography Production says. So Daylight Twinkle, we're gonna move on to some questions you asked, and do you remember what question? I'm gonna ask him quickly. Do you remember what questions that you asked? Like, because obviously you can check back on the video, check them and ask them now, and so I can go through them one by one, or like, because I've got because you asked 4 questions in the Q&A announcement video, but I cannot, and which I have on a sheet of paper in front of me now, which I'm not sure if you want me to answer now, or do you want to go back and check over the video and ask them? Just gonna wait for a response. Live chat. So there's 2 people. There's 2 people watching. I think. Hang on. You know what? They're in front of me anyway. I'm gonna answer them. So so Daylight Twinkle asks, first question. You can answer them now. Okay. What are things you find fascinating about America and any other country you're interested in besides England? I think, like, naturally, it's got to be the cultural differences, surely. But no, like, kind of like America just seems like they have the differences in kind of humor. Like, basically, it's like America, we speak the same language, but they're so different over there. They're so much bigger. It's basically like 3 different countries, 3 different entire countries merged into one. Is what America is. I mean, come on. Like, I found out the other day that Texas is bigger than freaking Germany, which when I look on a map, it seems pretty big. So, and just like the idea that kind of they have their own kind of identity. So, like, America, it's on my bucket list, man. I so want to go to America one of these days. Like, I don't know how I'll get there. Like, maybe it'll be like on another gap year, on a holiday, or like, you know, studying something. You know, I don't know how I'll get there, but I'll definitely like to get there at some point. As for other countries, Canada I'm quite interested in. It just, like, when you look at, especially from, like, has anybody seen the Raccoons? So it was a Canadian animated show, and just like from like the animation of that, Canada, like, granted, it's an animated show, but it looks so beautiful up there. Like, and just like from images, because I know, obviously I know people that have been there, and obviously there's the whole belief that the people are really nice. I'm not sure if anyone else if that really is true, but you know, so yeah, Canada, also Japan, like, it's like a completely different society there. Japan, it's absolutely, like, it's mesmerizing, you know. But also Scandinavia is also on my bucket list. Again, just like pure natural beauty. Also I guess Australia as well. You know, it's a bit far away, especially for me. But again, just kind of seeing those. If I had to ask specifically where, like, in Australia, Les Photography Productions, you're gonna hate me for this, but Sydney, like, Sydney, it looks like such a cool city, you know. But anyway, that's basically that's my answer to your question, Daylight. Second of all, how did you get into Thomas the Tank Engine? So, like any kid, like, thankfully, I started with the classic series. So they were hand-me-downs from, I remember it was the Escape and Other Stories VHS and the Home at Last and Other Stories VHS. So that was how they were hand-me-downs from my elder brother, who was also into Thomas the Tank Engine. And that was how, and that was how I got into. Yeah, I can see Les is already pissed off at me already. Being a Melburnian, yes, I would. So I'm sorry, Les. Don't unsubscribe from me, please. But how did you get into Thomas the Tank? So again, like, it was kind of hand-me-downs, and then, because can I tell you what? It scared me as a kid. Thomas the Tank Engine scared, and not in the way you might think. Like, yeah, it was just full of the episodes. I mean, Escape and Other Stories VHS, like, freaking Escape is like, for a kid, that's a genuinely scary episode. I'm sorry, it's what, and So I took a break from Thomas, like mostly because out of fear, but also it just and then I when I got back into YouTube, naturally, like I was around. Bear in mind, I'm like 7 or something. Like when I first like discovered YouTube, my natural instinct was to first look at like Thomas videos, and it kind of just went on from there, and it just didn't go away. Like I kept like rewatching the classic series and just loving it, and I couldn't like understand why. Like I just kind of stuck with it since then, and maybe it was because like going back to my kind of reaction to Escape, feeling scared by Escape. I I genuinely think that it was that feeling of kind of feeling. It made me feel strong. Those kind of emotions, you feel a bit tougher when you feel those kind of emotions. I think that's how like Nostalgia Critic put it when he talked about like dark toons. Like kind of when you get through them, you feel a bit tougher. Um, so like I owe kind of how I've grown as a person. A lot of how I've grown as a person is because of Thomas the Tank Engine. So like I just stuck with it ever since then. It's like how did Escape scare you? Like Clayface's remark. So, no, no, it was more or less the kind of specific episodes. Like it wasn't even just like the nature and the kind of models of it. Like I just completely ignored that at the most. I noticed them definitely. I mean the faces are freaking huge, but no, it was more or less just the kind of the scenarios and just situations that they all got in. It really scared me. Like I was a weird kid, okay? I was scared of a lot of stuff. Like Fireman Sam, I remember having a massive phobia of back in the day. Um you know, I'll tell you what, Ghost Train, that scared the hell out of me as a kid. Ghost Train was, and not that this was before. Can I bear in mind this was before I knew about the Timothy creepypasta? Okay, so Ghost Train was already scary before Timothy made it cool. But okay. Next question by Daylight. What was your first reaction about grown men liking My Little Pony? Of course, a part of me was just like, what the hell is actually going on? What has the world actually come to? But at the same time, like Les is having a bit of that. Well, I liked Fireman's Zone, but after time the voices start to annoy me. After time the voices started to annoy me. Now, how can you not like a Welsh accent? Come on. Like, well, the Welshies have the best kind of accent, man. They've like if any of you seen Gavin and Stacey, then you'll absolutely know what I mean. But no, we're gonna move on. Daylight's next question. What was your first reaction about grown men liking My Little Pony? I like. Obviously, my first reaction was a bit like, part of me was kind of thinking, what the actual hell? Like that's a kind of natural reaction. But I think because I remained in the Thomas fandom for so long, I was just like, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt, like, and kind of give it a chance. Because if I like ridiculed anyone who was into MLP, I would be a complete and utter hypocrite. Like, so, like, I gave it a chance, I gave it a watch, and I was initially very ambivalent about liking the show. Like, the show, it didn't really appeal to me, like, at first. Like, I've rewatched it, it's grown on me, certainly, but what kind of kept me in it was the fandom. Just how, not just how big it was, but also, like not just how big it was and like the opportunities like one gets, like literally like voice actor, artist, writer, a lot of kind of opportunities to kind of get yourself not necessarily out to the world, but it gives you, because like I as a performer, I have a drive to perform and to do that in front of people. I felt like that could kind of provide me for it. So it was like, but no, it wasn't just the size of the fandom, but it was also just I just it was very, because I was going through a very stressful period when I discovered it. Like I was really like not necessarily struggling with life. Like I wasn't contemplating suicide. Let's not get that dark. But I just the positivity like radiating from it was just it made me feel so much better, and I was just like, I found a cure for depression, guys. I, I might have just found my new Twitter bio, but oh my god, it was just like I'm not getting emotional speaking about this. Let me just clarify, but it was just so it was good for my mental health, MLP, and I appreciate that a lot about that show. So Kildane Productions says hi. How you doing, man? Very good to see you. Okay. Third question. What was your? Oh, sorry. I've already answered that one. So 4. What would your reaction be to Hasbro buying Thomas and fixing it? Me and TAG, I'm guessing the Amazing Gamer, could agree that if Hasbro bought Thomas, we would demand to see a crossover with both Thomas and MLP in the comics, like they did with Transformers. I haven't actually seen the Transformers one, but bloody hell, like Hasbro buying Thomas. I'm not, because I'm not. I thought about this earlier today. Like I was kind of like, would it solve anything? Would it really solve anything? And because like I think one of the reasons, like obviously Mattel, it's got a very corrupt money making mindset. But at the same time, one of the biggest reasons that it just doesn't get Thomas. It doesn't get what made Thomas work. And at the same, who's to say that Hasbro would feel the same way? Because again, like Mattel, they're an American company, and MLP and Thomas are very different shows with very different markets in mind. So it depends on the it depends on who does their research. Who's gonna do their research, you know. So yeah, that's basically my question. Those are the questions asked in the Q&A announcement. So now it's basically a free for all. Anybody in the chat wanna ask any questions off a limb? So there are only 3 people in the chat, so I don't expect this will go very well. So Kildane Productions just found your channel. Like your reactions to Stories of Soda. Cheers, man. I appreciate it. Okay. Daylight Twinkle. I'm not sure if this necessarily counts as a question, but what does it matter if they're an American company? Honestly, not that. You'd think it would make a big difference, but honestly, it doesn't really make that big of a difference. Because if you think about it, like, and I mentioned this, and I mentioned this a bit earlier. And I mentioned this a bit earlier. Shining Time Station was a huge thing, and I can imagine a big part of that was obviously like the actual nature of the show. But Thomas struck a chord. Like it has a massive American a huge American following. So honestly, I don't think what does it matter? It doesn't really matter that much. If I'm totally honest, you'd think it would matter a lot, but no, it doesn't really matter that much. So this is such a Les Photography Productions question. Favorite Tugs episodes? High Tide, hands down, High Tide. It just because I'll tell you for why. It just how it builds tension. High Tide. It's the perfect way that the show. It's the perfect example of how the show built tension, and like there are other kind of examples which a lot of people have kind of stress, which people like kind of stress. Like Munitions is perhaps the most prominent example, but I have a massive problem with Munitions, which stops it from being my favorite episode, and it's the end speech at the end. It's very compelling, kind of the end note, like always respect fire. It's a very true and kind of philosophical statement. But one specific piece of wording in that writing that speaks to me is that he said, and I quote, Blue Nose was right in his way, and both 10 Cents and OJ were right in theirs. but common sense from all three would have prevented the fire from starting. That's just thrown Tencent and OJ under the bus for no bloody reason. Okay? Like, if you're gonna, like, create that kind of conflicting narrative, then kind of show that OJ and Tencent did something wrong. Like, maybe they were so distracted by Blue Nose that that the barge wasn't tied, the barrels on the barge wasn't tied properly. That's a perfect opportunity to kind of show there's more than one side to a story. There are multiple, and it's more realistic. There are multiple elements to a tragedy. To a tragedy? Yeah. I sounded very dramatic then. But there are multiple elements that make it up. You know what I mean? More questions. What is your favorite character on Thomas? Kildane Productions asks. It's either Edward or James. Again, I'm going really boring here, but it's either Edward or James. Like Edward, because he's just like, if you've ever seen Edward's exploit, the guy is such an inspiration. Like this old, like that kind of romantic idea of an old timer showing that he's still got one fight left, that he's still got a lot of fight left in him. It's such a compelling narrative, and just seeing him do that time and time and time again. Like, granted, he appeared less and less as the series went on, but he's just such a role model, I find, Edward, and just his position in the show just makes him so good, you know. But no, and also as I mentioned, James, he's just so fun to watch, you know, especially when Michael Angelis is voicing him. His scouse high pitched voice for him is just so funny, like, and just it fits him so well. You can picture, like, I've never been to Liverpool, but you can picture as a British person, but you can picture you can come across someone like that. Someone who immediately has those kind of prejudices against, like, diesels or something. I've probably made... That sounds really dark. That sounds like a really dark kind of analogy of, like, that sounds like a kind of really dark way of saying James is a racist. But no, it's either Edward or James. Again, sorry for being a bit boring, but like, those two are anyway. So does anyone else have any more questions in the chat? There are only 3 people in the chat, which is unfortunate. But anyone else got any questions? Again, they don't have to be Thomas related. They can be completely random. You know, like, kind of, would you rathers, would you prefers, like kind of, would you rather and prefer? They're the exact same word. You know, they can be completely random. You know. So if anybody else has any questions, let me know. So I'm gonna give it a time. This is probably gonna be a really tragic wait, but you know, a short and sweet live stream, a very short and sweet live stream. No, even if it was just a few people. So anybody else got any more questions? Okay, I'm gonna give it some time to sit, and we'll see if any more questions do pop up. But I've just realised. Hang on a minute. Oh, hang on. Just hang on a minute. Do you want to come say hi? So, my dog made an appearance in my reactions, and now my cat makes in a live stream. She wants to go, but no, that just a quick cameo from my cat sounded quite nice. Okay, so Kildane Productions does have a question. Do you think Tugs was too action-packed and long for kids? Do you think that's why they cancelled season 2? Honestly, I don't think length really matters. Length, especially as time has gone on, length doesn't matter as much. My cat is just scratching beneath my desk as we speak. Was Tugs too action-packed? I think, because Unlucky Tugs made this. I do not make credit for the statement, but Unlucky Tug made a statement that kind of, because of the action-packed and the kind of darker nature of Tugs, it never really had a target audience, if you think about it. And, because again, like, kind of, who is Tugs directly aimed at? Like, obviously, we kind of see it as a, we can kind of see it as a, like, we look back on it, and it looks like the greatest thing ever that really should have had a longer runtime. And, like, I was one of these people, especially when I was younger, because I was introduced to Tugs really quite early on. But no, I just, like, honestly, it would have been nice to see it, it would have been nice to see it continue, but at the same time, I think the 13 episodes were kind of enough for what it had. For the runtime that it had was enough. Like, it was kind of, it made its presence known. But at the same time, can I help you? You can't see it, but see now I've pissed her off by getting her here, and now she's. This is perhaps the most entertaining thing that's ever going to happen on this stream. I do apologize. This hasn't really gone as well. But no, hopefully I've managed to answer. Okay. Have you watched every episode of Tugs? If not, would you do reactions to them? I have many times. Kildane Productions. I've watched Tugs many times. It just goes to show how much I love the series. Also, a fun fact, if you didn't, you probably can't tell from the thumbnail anymore, but my channel is named after a Tugs character. If you can guess what that is, I'll be quite impressed. Honestly, I've told a few people, but okay, so, or would you react to the first few seasons of Thomas? Again, seen them done that, or rewatch them all. That is an idea. That is a shout, actually. Rewatching. Granted, I have Daylight Twinkle has been kind of doing Tanky's React, which reacting to the kind of classic series of Thomas. Yeah, Les Production, Goods Engine, my guy, well done. But to be fair, I was kind of, if I was do you know what? If I was going to put money on anyone getting that right, it was going to be Les Productions. But okay, there's another question from, but no, Kildane Productions. That is a shout. Like, do let me know guys, if that's something you would like me to see. Was Tugs shown to an American audience? It was going to be. Like, I know for certain it was going to be. There was a American dub, which, like, a really shitty quality American dub that was found. Like, I can't, quite recently, like, it was, like, the first scene of Sunshine, and it had, like, American voices, and, like, American voice actors, and so I can't tell if that was actually shown to an American audience, but obviously, like, the kind of because they did forward it to America, like, they kind of proposed the idea, obviously, but the Americans, like, obviously rejected it, So like, those are the only ones I think I know, other than, like, the actual fandom that have actually seen Tugs. Obviously, never saw her as a kid. But no, it's yeah, it was leaked and unreleased. There we go. With George Carlin, like they did with George Carlin as well. Actually, to be fair, like they did with Ringo Starr, did the American narration beforehand, actually, which is so fucking weird to hear. Like, I remember when I like discovered like a Ringo Starr like US narration. I was expecting like the typical UK narration. I was like, why does he sound so much chirpier? like literally, he sounds like he wants to kill himself in the first season. And second, why the hell is he saying Sir Topham Hatt and freight cars? It just sounds so weird. like, because Ringo Starr, he has such a British sounding voice. Like, that Liverpudlian Beatles accent. He has such a British sounding voice. So, I, I am so done. But you know, that was kind of my reaction to kind of Ringo Starr's US narration. So, but yeah, in a way, it is similar. It's a very similar kind of changing that kind of. Though I don't think they changed the narration style, really, because obviously, if you think about the US dub of Thomas, they changed the terminology quite a bit. Like, as I mentioned, like, it's Sir Topham Hatt, trying not to offend anyone, which I still find quite funny. Second, like, freight cars. Oh god, what else? Conductor instead of a guard. And obviously some of the lines were changed, so I don't think it was quite like that. Granted, I did notice in the kind of leaked, unreleased version that it was, I did notice that it was. I did notice it was. I did notice that there was a bit more difference in kind of voice acting style. So, bro, right when George Carlin came, the first recording, I'd love to hear it. He would try and hold in swearing. Oh my god. Can I tell you what? I discovered this. I think I found a piece of knowledge actually. George Carlin, because he was so used to recording in front of like an audience, he had a difficult time narrating the lines because he didn't have a kind of someone in there. So I think this is correct, but he actually had a teddy bear. But he actually had a teddy bear with him as a quote-unquote audience member, which I think was very sweet, like kind of adapting to what an actor is most comfortable with. Which is very ironic, because normally people don't really like performing in front of people, but George Carlin was so used to that kind of thing that he had to kind of he needed like that that kind of audience member to make it feel more real to him, which I think is such a cool story, you know? But anyway, conversation with. Wait, comment section of what? Like what video? They're like, oh yeah, I heard about. You say you heard about that in the comment section. What video is that? Hang on a minute. I'm just gonna turn up the game. That's my cat purring. Okay, that's my cat purring, like right next to me. Don't have to use British. So it worries me that as Kildane Productions, it worries me that since I'm American and I watch Thomas, that I love to use British terms. So my dad gets angry every time I say "pray fan." There's nothing wrong with using bit of British slang. There's nothing wrong. It's hardly slang, but there's nothing wrong with that. I honestly don't think there's any. It's like maybe obviously maybe I am biased, but you know it's fun. You know, I use quite a bit of British slang. Like I remember because obviously Les Photography Productions is Australian. They have some really weird. If you want to talk about weird cultural slang, fucking Australian slang, man. Some of it, and granted we do take a lot of that in this country, but that's so weird. Someone's video, I can't remember. Of course, not on your comments. Yeah, I was about to say, but I remember I saw it like quite a few years ago. There was an old the first ever because everyone's the history of Thomas has been documented quite a bit since now, but this is one. I remember one of the first documentaries, which was a really crappy literally it was just in front of a slideshow, which was so funny. But I remember that was when I first came across that, which but I think it's very cool. I think it's very, very cool. again, I'm sorry, guys. There really aren't that many in this. I really do apologize. And this isn't as kind of big as I kind of expected. So maybe I will do like because I know there were quite a few people. Because I knew there were quite. Hang on a minute. So when it comes to yeah, like Daylight Twinkle, he does actually have a second channel. I know I've seen his content. He does actually have a second channel which he dedicates to American trains. So check that out if you want. If you want. Yeah, no, I'm giving him a shout out. I'm giving him a shout out. Guys, I apologize. This is really quite slow. Obviously this is like my first live stream. There isn't really like I was expecting like a bit more kind of activity in the comment section. But that's the whole trouble with having a small channel. It absolutely is. But I do apologize that this has gone a bit slowly. But I've had fun. I've really had fun. You know, it's just like I don't know. Size. There's a new member to the chat. There's two new members to the chat actually. Yeah, it's really just people don't know what to ask, I think. Wait, hang on. Hang on. Kildane Productions has a question. Since I'm new, what are you into? Wooden Railway, Trackmaster, Tommy, Play Rail, Take a Play, or anything else? Nothing. I used to be massive Wooden Railway guy. Like again, like hand-me-downs. Massive kind of emphasis on hand-me-downs. So no, never really. Right now, I don't really have like any of that kind of merch. I don't really have any kind of Thomas merchandise, especially since that's like I don't want to give Mattel money. You know, I don't want to give Mattel money. Anyway, Jaden, view favorite Thomas Tank favorite Thomas character. Like I said earlier, Edward and James. Like Edward because he's a massive inspiration, and two because and James because and two because he's and James because he's just so much fun to watch. So it's definitely those two. Beluga fan, no. When are you doing another Stories of Soda reactions? So I do Stories of Soda reactions every Friday. Okay. Though to be honest, I am kind of considering whether I should make it Thursday so it doesn't coincide with the new release of Stories of Sodor. But I am an episode behind. I think I'm 2 episodes behind actually, because I know the new one came out last episode. I do apologize. The stream is a little bit laggy. No, I think. But no, I think we are gonna end it there. Like again, the stream is a bit laggy. This is that's a small one big. I can imagine how many people are watching me view elsewhere. To be honest, I'm not that fussed. I know I'm saying this. I'm really not that fussed. Okay, I'm not that fussed at all. But by the kind of lack of activity. Like maybe it's because like I had like people spamming me like in the comment section asking for actual questions. I don't know. It's not gone as popular as I would have hoped, you know. But at the same time, it's a fairly good. I've had fun, and you know, getting kind of closer with a few of these people, like just kind of talking to them. You know, it's been fun. This has been a fun live stream, so I think I am gonna end it here. So again, drop this again. I'll put the replay up. And if you and to be honest, like if anybody like what wants to watch the replay, then they can they can just ask a question in the comments and ask. So yeah, Beluga fan no says no says bye. But no, thank you those who have joined me, and also okay, would you consider actually one more question, Jade and Vu, would you consider making trains content? Really, no, because I honestly I don't really know. I'm trying to get myself in a position where I am like I'm trying to find because obviously my future is rather uncertain. Like I'm not saying like because like I have university in my life at the moment, and it's rather so I don't want to kind of like cling on to doing anything major. So like these reactions and kind of small content, it's a good way of kind of spacing it out. So but no, I think that's gonna be it for this stream. But I just want to end this by thank you guys so much for 200 subs. You guys are absolutely incredible. Honestly. But no, thanks you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.